Children, in the previous chapters, we read about how the human evolved into a modern human being. In the second chapter, we have read about how the civilization started in the region of Iraq, which was earlier known as the Mesopotamian civilization. We have also read about various efforts for the empire building during the Mesopotamian civilization, like the Assyrian Empire, Babylonian Empire. So, now we are moving further and we will discuss an empire which was spread across the three continents. So, how the empire building took place, we will read the background from 2 or 3 slides. First of all, the empires. By the 6th century BCE, Iranian had established control over the major part of Assyrian Empire. About Assyrian Empire, we have read in second chapter that Assurbanipal used to be the ruler of Assyrian Empire, and he also set up a library in his capital. So we have read about that. In Eastern Mediterranean, Greek cities and their colonies benefited from the improvement in trade that were the result of these changes. Means some cities became quite prosperous due to the spread of the trade, due to the development of the trading activities. In Greece, for the most part, city states as the Athens and Sparta, these used to be two oldest city of the Greece, and they developed due to the trade, and they were the focus of the civic life. Means civilization was developing in these two cities. In the late 4th century, around 320, the ruler of the kingdom of Macedon, and his name was Alexander, he undertook a series of military campaigns and conquered parts of North Africa, West Asia, and Iran, and reached up to the Bias. Bias is a river which is in Punjab. So Alexander attacked in India in 326 BCE, and he conquered the parts of western India, including the parts of Sindh, Pakistan, and upper part of the India like Kashmir. He also defeated the ruler of northwestern India, that was the Porus, in 326 BCE. So India also became the part of the western world after the victory of Alexander. So this was the first attempt to make the empire, and he is also known as the world conqueror. After the victory of Alexander, the entire region as a whole became Hellenistic or Hellenized world. Why it is called Hellenized world? Because the ancient name of the Greece was Hala, and the culture of Greek was having an influence in this region. But after the death of Alexander, the empire started disintegrating very quickly. As a result, various small kingdoms appeared from the area which was once conquered by Alexander. So in this section we will deal the important aspect what happened after the death of Alexander and how empire building took place in various parts of the world. After the victory of Alexander, since he conquered a large part of the world, the entire area was called Hellenized region because it was having the influence of Greek culture, and Greeks were called Hellenes. And why they were called Hellenes? Because Hala was the ancient name of Greece, and Greek became a well-known language throughout the area which was conquered by Alexander. The political unity of the Alexander's empire disintegrated quickly after the death of Alexander, because there was no able successor of Alexander who could control such a vast empire. So it started disintegrating. But still, Hellenistic culture, which spread with the victory of Alexander, remained an important part in this area. Small but well organized military forces of the central Italian city, that is known by the name of Rome, took the advantage of the political discord that followed the death of Alexander, and they started establishing control over the North Africa, Eastern Mediterranean from the 2nd century BCE, right after the death of Alexander. In the middle of the 1st century BCE, under the great ruler of Roman Empire, that was Julius Caesar, he was a high-born military commander, and this Roman Empire was extended to present-day Britain and Germany. It means the Roman Empire reached its zenith under the reign of Julius Caesar. Latin was the main language of the empire, though the many in the east continued to use Greek language. So we can say that there were two important language at that time. One was Greek language, which was important from the time of Alexander, and second language which became more important nowadays after the victory of the Romans, and that was the Latin language, and Latin is the mother tongue of Italy. So this became an important language. In western part of the empire, Latin was the most important language, but in the eastern part of the empire, Greek still remained the important language. Now we have read that how Romans took the advantage of the political discord after the death of Alexander, and they stretched their empire to a large territory that covered almost the entire part of Europe and the part of Fertile Crescent, present day, that is called Iran, and North Africa. In the chapter we will have a look at the very Roman Empire that was organized, the political forces that shaped its destiny, and the social groups into which people were divided. And we will read in detail about this empire, which was spread in the three continents, and these three continents were Africa, Asia, and Europe. Now you can have a look at the map of the Roman Empire. You can see that it has spread in the three continents. This part lies in Asia, this is the Europe, and this is Africa. And you can see that this is the capital, which was the heart of the Roman Empire. So Rome initially used to be a group of villages, and they were situated on the bank of river Tiber, which is presently in Italy. And around 750 BCE, these villages united to form the city of Rome. And after the death of Alexander, the people of this area became quite strong, and they mobilized the political forces and military forces, and they captured such a large area, and they built up the first empire, which was spread in the three continents, and that was called as the Great Roman Empire. You can see that Britain, part of Germany, Spain, France, Northern Africa, Eastern Mediterranean Sea, the part of Levant region of Asia, part of Turkey, they once used to be the part of the Alexander's empire. Now they became the part of the Roman Empire. Now question comes, how we have reconstructed the history of the Roman Empire. So mainly we took the help of the three kind of sources. First is textual sources. These mainly includes the texts, and these includes contemporary history, that is the annals which were written at that time, letters, speeches, sermons, and laws which were framed during the Roman Empire. So some of the texts are still available, and we have tried to reconstruct the history of the Roman Empire with the help of these sources. The second one is documents. Documentation was also done at that time, and these includes inscription cut on stone, that is the in two languages, Greek and Latin language, and the documents on papyrus. Papyrus is a stem of a plant which is found in the region of Egypt on the bank of river Nile, and we have come to know about the Roman Empire through the account books of that time, letters, and official documents which were documented at the time of the Roman Empire. Then the last one, which is also very important, it is material remains. The buildings, monuments, potteries, coins, and mosaics are the part of this material remains. And you can see in the picture also, this is the image of Colosseum, which was constructed during the time of the Roman Empire, and many other buildings are still found in Italy, which were the part of the Roman Empire at that time. So through these three kind of sources, we have tried to reconstruct the history of Roman Empire. Now you can see that this is the timeline of Roman Empire. What kind of development took place in which ages, that has been described over here. Around 753 BCE, many small villages which were situated on the bank of river Tiber, they joined together, and the villages of the river Tiber, they joined together to make the city of Rome. And the city of Rome was founded around 753 BCE. In 509 BCE, Romans became a republic, and they started their administration by electing the officials and senators. By 45 BCE, Julius Caesar, who was one of the greatest ruler of Roman Empire, and he was also the first dictator of Rome, and he ended the Republic of Rome. Now it has become a monarchical system, and the entire power of that empire was lying in the hand of the ruler only, because he ended the republican nature of the Roman Empire. 4400 BCE, Caesar was assassinated by some of his companions. 27 BCE, Roman Empire began as a Caesar Augustus to become the first Roman emperor, and his real name was Octavian. Later on, he adopted the name of Augustus. He became the ruler after the death of Julius Caesar, and he was the adopted son of Julius Caesar. In 117 AD, Roman Empire reached at its peak. By 306 AD, Constantine became the emperor of the Roman Empire, and he shifted his capital from the Rome to the Constantinople, earlier which was known by the name of Byzantium. And he also made Christianity as the official religion of the Roman Empire. Before the adoption of the Christianity as the official religion, there used to be polytheism prevailing in the Roman Empire. By 395 AD, Rome splits into the two parts, Western and Eastern Roman Empire, and by 476 AD, the end of the Western Roman Empire took place, but the empire was still going on in the eastern side, and later on it was known as the Byzantine Empire. So this is the entire timeline and what kind of development took place, and during this period it is all about the Roman Empire. Now from this map you can see that what were the contemporaneous empires during the time of the Roman Empire. This red color signifies the Roman Empire, and this purple color signifies the Parthian Empire, which was also a contemporaneous of the Roman Empire. In India, especially in the northwestern part of India and the Central Asia, including the parts of Afghanistan and Pakistan, there used to be a great empire that was called Kusana Empire, and Kanishk was one of the most important ruler of the Kusana Empire. Indo-Scythian used to rule in the southern part of the Pakistan, including the region of Sindh, which were the descendant of the Greek rulers. And Sakas used to rule in the western side of India, and Rudradaman used to be one of the most important ruler of the Saka dynasty. Satvahan used to rule in the Deccan part of India. Gautamiputra Satkarni, which used to be one of the greatest ruler of the Satvahan dynasty, they used to rule in India. So in India at that time there were main ruling dynasties like the Kusanas, Indo-Scythian, Sakas and Satvahans. In further south, Cheras, Pandyas and Cholas were the ruler. In China there was the Han Empire, and it was also one of the most important empire of the Eastern Asia. So these are the contemporaneous empire of the Roman Empire, and we will read here about only about the two empire, and one is the Roman Empire and the second is the Parthian Empire. The empires of India will be discussed next year. Now this is the map which tells us about the Roman and the Parthian Empire, and they were also related to each other. Parthian Empire was covering most part of the Western Asia, including the part of Iran, Iraq and Syria, and Roman Empire was mainly covering the area of Europe, most of the Europe, parts of Asia, as well as northern part of Africa above the Sahara Desert. And this used to be the buffer zone. between these two great empires, and there used to be constantly conflict among these two great empires, that is the Parthian Empire as well as the Roman Empire, to have a hold of this buffer zone, because this is the area which once used to be very fertile, and that was also a trading link between the Asia and the Europe. So to have a hold of this buffer region was considered to be of great strategical importance. So there used to be constant conflict between these two great empire, and they were enemy to each other. Now here we are comparing the two great empire of that time. First is the Roman Empire and the second is the Parthian Empire. The Roman Empire stretched from Spain in Europe to Syria in the east along the Mediterranean Sea into the Africa's desert. That I have shown you through the map also. This is the northern boundary of the Roman Empire. This is the southern boundary, that is above the desert of Sahara. And the eastern boundary is the eastern side of the Mediterranean Sea, and it was reaching up to the river Euphrates. The western boundary of the Roman Empire was found by the Mediterranean Sea. So this is the Roman Empire's boundary. Now come to the Parthian Empire. Iran controlled the entire area south of the Caspian Sea and eastern Arabia, and at time large parts of Afghanistan. This I am showing you through the map also. This is the part of Iran, Iraq, and this is the Caspian Sea. The south of the Caspian Sea was controlled by the Parthian Empire, and parts of Central Asia was also the part of Parthian Empire. The southern boundary of the Parthian Empire was formed by the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea, and the mountains of Suleiman, Hindu Kush, they used to form the eastern boundary of the Parthian Empire. In the north, its boundary were marked by the river Rhine and Danube. So the northern boundary was formed by the two rivers, that is the Rhine and Danube, and these were the northernmost boundary of the Roman Empire. In the south, as I told you, the boundary was formed by the Sahara Desert. Roman Empire had diverse population as compared to that of Iran. So you can see that there is a lot of geographical diversity between different parts of the Roman Empire. In the northern part of Roman Empire, there used to be snow-covered mountains, and they were having a very cold kind of climate, whereas the southern part of the Roman Empire, which was including the part of Africa, they were having a warmer climate and a tropical kind of climate, and the southern part of that was having a desert. There was no mountain which was covered with the snow. The eastern part, lying to the east of Mediterranean Sea, there used to be the fertile plain area, and same was in the case of the western part, that was of Spain. So there was a lot of diversity in the Roman Empire, which was having geographical diversity, as well as there was also demographic diversity. Various kinds of tribes used to live in the Roman Empire, and they used to speak different kinds of dialects, and they were having different kinds of the religious traditions and cultural traditions as well. So Roman had a, and the last one part of the Roman Empire is Romans had a paid professional army. They were having a large army, and that was a regular army, and they were paid fully during the time of their tenure, and there was a specific period for everybody in the Roman Empire to do the service of the army, and it was not so in the Parthian Empire. They were having the conscripted army, means they were not having a regular army. So the Roman army was much modern in the nature as compared to the Persian Empire, that is called the Parthian Empire. The Parthians and Sasanians, these were the two major dynasties which ruled this empire. Initially there were Parthians, and later on it was ruled by the Sasanians, ruled largely over the Iranian population, means there was the dominance of Iranian people in the Parthian Empire, but in Roman Empire there was the dominance of the Italian people, Roman people. So this is the comparison between the Roman Empire and the Parthian Empire.